Hi, I'm Chad King with the Barn Door Store, and today we're going to show you how we installed this barn door. The first thing you want to do is you're going to measure the size of your opening, which in this case is 34.5 inches. The door that we're going to be hanging today is 42 inches. So if I take 42 minus 34.5, we get 7.5, which leaves us 3 3/4 of overlay on each side. So that's going to be a nice overlap for this opening here. So I make my mark at 3 3/4 past the inside edge of the opening, and that is where my track is going to start. So whatever the height of your door is, just add 3 3/4 from the ground to the top of the track. Remember, this is going to be the top of the track. I look at the height of the door, which is 82.5. Take 82.5 plus 3 3/4, and you're going to get 86.25. That is our track height. So we made our mark here, 3 3/4 past and 86.25 from the floor, and that's going to be our starting point. From there, we're going to find all the studs in the wall as far as our track will go, pretty much. In this case, our track is 80.5. You can measure your track, or it should say it on your order as well. But just start your tape measure right here, span it 80.5, and then make a mark down there, and then we're gonna find all the studs in between. So just grab a piece of paper. It's a little bit tricky, but hold the tape measure on that line, and then we're gonna call out the numbers of the studs. So as I said, the first one is gonna be 1 inch. The second one, I have 21 inches. Third is 42. Fourth is 61. All right. So now we're outside. We're gonna drill out the track. So we're gonna take the numbers that we wrote down from inside of where your studs are and transfer them onto the track. Our first is the 1. Next is 21, 42, 61, and 78. Now you wanna make your mark in the center of the track on each line. First, we're going to start by piloting our holes. This is 1/4 inch steel. I prefer these 1/8 inch Milwaukee metal bits. You can buy them at Home Depot. These are really good for metal pilots. After we drill the pilot, use a unibit to bore out the hole. We're gonna go to 7/16. We want a 7/16 hole. I get these from Harbor Freight. They're not that expensive, and they seem to work the best out of all of them. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna mark our 1 inch hole, which will be your first pilot into the studs. So from your line here, we're gonna mark 1 inch over and 1 inch down. 1 inch is the center of our 2 inch track. Use a 1/4 by 10 inch long drill bit. You can get these at Home Depot. This one's a DeWalt. I think Milwaukee also makes one. You want to go pretty much a I just use the threads as a rule of thumb as how deep I want to go into the stud. So because this is our 1-inch hole on the track, that's the one that's gonna get the end stop. So I'm gonna place the end stop on this one. You want these facing inwards. And now we're gonna drive our lag bolts in. This is a 3/8 lag bolt, so we're gonna use a 9/16 socket to drive this into the wall. Make sure your washer is in between the drywall and the spacer. That's gonna prevent the drywall from crushing when we tighten this down. Pretty much tighten it almost all the way, and then I wanna finish it off with a ratchet wrench, just so I can feel how tight I am. And you wanna go as much as you can just before you feel like the drywall is about to crack. Don't let it crack, stop right there. You wanna go pretty tight. So moving on to the next one, I have Junior holding the end of the track here. I'm gonna put my level on it, and I'm gonna tell him whether to go up or down. So right now we need to go down a little bit, right there. And I'm gonna check this other side of the hole. I'm gonna drill too, just to see exactly where we're at. Now this part is pretty important. Don't tighten it down all the way. You're gonna wanna tighten it almost all the way and then put the level on it again because it can move. So go down just a hair. Right there is perfect. Again, I'm checking it on both sides of my hole. And now that I have it level, he's gonna hold it still while I tighten it down. Just keep in mind you want your spacers to be pretty square when you look up underneath that track. Tighten it down all the way until you feel like the drywall is about to crack. Don't let it crack. And we're good. You can always do the pound test to see how strong that is. So far, we're looking really good. So I got the last one in, our track's level. Remember, we're gonna use this 1-inch hole for our end stop. So we have a nut and a bolt that's provided in your kit. You have 2 extra ones. So we'll secure this here with that. And it's gonna be facing in towards the other one. All right, so this is the easiest way to install the door after you have the track secured. Lay down 2 3/4-inch pieces of wood on the ground, set your door on top of them underneath the track. And then we're gonna make sure our door's level. The floor could be a little bit off. There's a couple factors that come into play, so just put a level on the sides of your door. And we are good. We're ready to put the arms on. Make a mark 1 3/4 inch from the edge of the door to the edge of the arm. And that's exactly where you're gonna drill this. Make sure your wheel is tight on top, it's not spinning, and then simply drill out some pilot holes. For this specific kit with these big rollers, we're gonna be using a 1/2-inch lag bolt. So we're gonna use a 3/8 pilot. Your rollers may require a 1/4-inch pilot for a 3/8 lag bolt. So if you have smaller rollers than this, you may be using a 1/4-inch drill bit for this part. The lags aren't gonna go all the way through. They're just gonna go a little more than halfway through the door. So just make your pilot accordingly. You want your pilot to be about halfway through the door there. All right, so put your square up to your arm, make sure you're all square. And then I always like to finish everything off with the ratchet. That way we can feel it being tight. You wanna go pretty much as tight as you can on these guys. So once you get those arms mounted, simply take the boosters out from underneath the door. Next we have the floor guide. I drilled holes in this one because we have a wood floor. If you have a tile floor, you're gonna want to glue it. I use JB Weld for that glue. In this case, I'm just gonna be using like some really short screws to go into that wood. All right, so before we actually mount the floor guide, we're gonna test it. Open the door up all the way. And typically you want this to butt up to whatever baseboard you have right here. In this case, we have trim around the opening as well. So we'll just butt it up right there. We're not hitting anything. We're clearing all the moldings. So we'll go ahead and put it right there. As you see, there's a pretty even gap from the top to the bottom. This is your backside handle. It's low profile enough to where it's not gonna hit the wall, and this just goes right on the backside of the door. So you wanna shut the door first, figure out where you can still grab this thing with your fingers, make a 1/4 inch pilot, and then lag it into the door. This is another 3/8 lag. Not gonna go all the way through the door, so we're gonna use our 9/16 ratchet wrench again. Thank you guys for watching today. I hope this video helped you out if you had any questions on your install. I made this video mostly for people who buy a will call kit from the Barn Door Store. I hope this video helped you out. Visit our website, thebarndoorstore.com. You can also find us on Instagram at The Barn Door Store and on YouTube at The Barn Door Store. Thanks, guys.